Right now, I am commandeering the show. You see, the person in charge of this show has no idea what's about to happen is about to happen. It's a total surprise in the form of a very fond farewell for our friend, Studio 5 senior producer, Stephanie Bryson. After nearly 15 years of producing and overseeing and growing and shaping Studio 5, Steph is moving on. Producers don't need control, but they're used to having control, and she's being very gracious right now. This is her show, and I'm taking it over. We are so thrilled for Steph and the new opportunity that lies ahead, but so very sad for us. As you can see, the tears are already flowing. So it seemed more than appropriate to hijack her very last show to tell her thanks and to celebrate Steph.
Studio 5, it's Steph Bryson.
Steph Bryson. Producer Stephanie Bryson.
Maker, very on trend, opinionated,
Creative, genuine,
agile, strong,
vocabularian,
brilliant.
And she's a little bit sassy.
Okay guys, I think I found the Valentine's sugar cookie of the day.
I can still remember stepping onto the floor of the studio and having Steph come out of the production studio and onto the set, and she just came over with her big open arms and said, "Maria, I'm so glad that you're here."
Stephanie has a knack for bringing out people's true potential. I've heard her on the phone countless times reminding guests that they are the experts on the thing they're coming on the show to talk about. And it works and brings us great segments because when Stephanie talks, if people are smart, they listen.
But what I love about Stephanie is she thinks in the long game.
And the thing that I really appreciate about Stephanie is the way that she makes me feel when I come on the set.
Really, if there's ever a problem, we're trying to solve a problem or there's some sort of dilemma, she's always the first to offer a solution.
I remember time and time again, I would bounce my ideas off with Stephanie, and she was always so great to help me push myself and think outside of the box.
We did a funny kind of segment where we faced our fears, and she produced it, and I was interacting with birds, which I have a huge phobia with. But as soon as we started filming and getting into it, she could see that my anxiety was real, and she instantly switched from like, you know, producer to kind of like mama bear to make sure that I was okay. She was gonna make sure everything was fine.
I will never ever forget those early days on Studio 5 for me, and the way that Stephanie really mentored me and gave me some of the best advice. Stephanie has continued to be such a supportive and warm presence in the set and on the show over these years.
There was no greater person than Stephanopoulos as my sounding board and just someone for advice. When I had questions about a segment or an upcoming assignment, how many times did I come around the corner and plop down in her cubicle and say, "What should I do about this?" I think of all the segments that we ever worked together on, and there were certainly hundreds, if not thousands. It was one 15 years ago. Steph knows which one it was. It was when Steph was assigned to review the family games for the upcoming Christmas season, and she was kind enough to let me help collaborate a little bit on that. It turned into an annual tradition, and we still have many of those games, and sometimes we'll get out of the box, we'll open it up, and inside there are the original notes, Steph, that you put in there on some pieces of paper, and we leave them in there just so we can remember you. I remember you every time I open one of those boxes, and we think of you often and many other times as well. I hope you'll continue to influence for people for good with both your fun and games. Best of luck.
So fun to hear from so many Studio 5 friends, including my former co-host Darren Adams right there. That was great to hear from Darren and see some of those look backs. Darren and Steph represent the core kind of inception of Studio 5, and there's a lot of closeness that comes from growth. So we're giving her one last big group hug as we wipe our eyes while we're still smiling. Steph, thank you for all you are and all you've done. It's kind of a mean task if I'm going to take it on right now to try to express my love and appreciation, because Steph is a wordsmith. She is a master at her craft, and it is a craft to produce a show like this, and Steph is the best at it. Beyond that, Steph is a wonderful friend. You heard people talk about her mothering ways, and she's done that for us here on the show. So we will miss you dearly, my friend. Thank you for all you've done and all you are.